Good morning, everybody, and welcome once again to the number one Rotary TV program on Web TV, Rotary Moment. These moments, rather. This is Henry Andradora, and today we are going to have an exciting interview or discussion with a highly respected personality. So hindi ako mag-i-introduce noon because I don't know much more about him, but rather ang aming mga kasamahan dito, lalong-lalo na si AG Carlo. AG Carlo, come in.
Hi, good morning everybody. We're here again. We're back.
Good morning, good
Medyo
morning.
Oo. ah Medyo
Na-miss ka namin
puyat.
last week, ha? Na-miss din
Oo
naman
nga
ako
eh.
eh.
Hindi wala kasi we have to prepare for that for the katarungang pangbarangay.
Oo nga, oo. And I've
It
heard
was a very
successful yon.
successful webinar which was participated by almost or more than 100 barangay officials, barangay captains, kagawad, and so on and so forth. And
Ay, ang ganda.
ayun,
Sayang.
oo,
Congratulations.
ayun. Tawagin na natin ang ating yung mahiwagang doktor.
Oo, para maging maliwanag tayo.
Para dumiwanag lalo ang ating umaga. Asan na ba si pasok na, Doc Bogs.
Doc Bogs!
Good morning, good morning. Ano ba yan? Umagang kay ganda po at umagang pang-asar, mga magandang kaibigan ko ha. Aga-aga ha.
Pasensya ka na, puyat kami kagabi.
Oo, mukhang busy-busy lahat eh.
Mukhang busy kayo ha.
Ikwento namin yung mga pinagagawa namin kagabi.
Yan. Teka nga muna pala at maiba-iba ako. No? Ano ba nangyari sa inyo? Ba't iniwan niyo ako doon last time?
Yun nga. Importante kasing maayos yung ating webinar.
Oo.
So, ang daming kasali. Mga more than 100 participants.
And congratulations.
And this is not, hindi lang within our district, pati sa ibang cities, no? Not just Manila, Pasay, Cavite, and Mindoro yata meron rin. Meron rin Quezon City and dami pa. Maybe we can ask LCP Mario, our president. He knows more about this. Asan ba si LCP Mario?
Tawagin na natin. Tawagin natin.
Sige.
LCP Mario Junicio.
Ayan.
Good morning.
Ba't gwapo?
Ba't gwapo? Bumata, LCP.
Bumata.
Bakit mukhang artista? Ay, sorry, Sir LCP.
LCP?
Special substitution. Mukhang busy sa mobility project eh.
Ay, ano pala yan? Yung ating special guest for this morning.
Nako, grabe.
SDG Ken.
SDG Ken, good morning. So, basically, clarify ko lang, si LCP Mario is at the mobility project at this time.
Yes, oo. Importante kasi na andun din yung physical presence niya para mas maging successful yung event.
Oo,
mga wheelchair?
sa Universidad de Manila, di ba?
Yan ba yung mga wheelchair o ano ba yan? Ano bang ginagawa nila doon?
Merong prosthesis, meron ding tungkol sa wheelchair, at alam ko sinasamahan din nung para naman sa vision. So I think namimigay din ng mga eyeglasses.
I see. Oo.
So para luminaw ang paningin.
Oo. So it's a good project kasi eventually, alam mo naman, pagka nagkakaedad ka na, it's either of three things lang naman yan di ba? It's either loss of vision, di ba? Or because of cataract and everything, no? Either yung mga hindi na makalakad because of any form of arthritis, no? So you need a wheelchair probably, no? Pero alam mo, sa isang prosthesis, prosthesis, no? Oo. Ito yung sinasabit mo pag graduate ka na sa kakolehiyo, di ba?
Yun pala yun.
Ayun pala yan.
Prosthesis yun, di ba?
Dinidepend pa yun, di ba?
Oo. Ano yun mga nakapanel ka pa, di ba? Kasi pagka bagsak ka dun sa prosthesis, alam ko hindi ka graduate. Oo, yan.
Uy, introduce nyo naman properly yung ating
Oo.
special guest. Kasi
Ay,
alam
oo
ko
nga
marami
pala.
nag-abang sa atin
Big-
yan eh. Nung
Oo.
nga sinabi ninyo na siya yung magiging guest natin, medyo kinabahan ako kasi ang alam ko, ano to eh, matalino eh. Baka nga ako pag nag-interview kay SDG Ken eh.
Yes, yes, yes. Pero before that, naisip ko lang, no? Atin-atin na lang to. Since si Attorney Mario is nasa mobility project, talaga ba talagang nandun ba talaga siya? Kasi pag hindi yun talaga nandoon, baka nagtatago na yun. Alam niyo ba kung bakit nagtatago yun?
Bakit?
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 Dan. Happy
Ay,
birthday to you.
Naku, malapit na.
Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday,
Happy
Jomar.
birthday,
Bukas na.
happy birthday, happy birthday, Mario.
Ma,
Hindi naman to siya magtatago eh. Siya yung nag-umpisa ng dandalan-dandan na yan eh.
Happy birthday.
birthday
Sa
niya
bagay,
bukas,
sa
di ba?
bagay.
Advance happy
Yes,
birthday,
yes.
LCP Mario.
Oo.
Sa mga fans po ng aming LCP Mario Dionisio, no?
Oo.
Maaring mag-donate lang po kayo, no, sa address na ito na ilalagay po namin mamaya, no? Dahil birthday niya po bukas, no? Lagay na lang po nung dedication ninyo, no? At saka ipapatugtog po namin yung dedikasyon ninyo at sa ganun matatanggap niyo yung kanta, no?
Lagot kayo.
Oo.
Tapos kung wala rin kayo makain bukas, punta lang kayo sa City Hall ng Manila. Tanong niyo
Ay,
lang ho ang
oo.
pangalan niya. Kilala ho siya doon.
Oo, si Attorney Mario po, isa po siya dun sa pinakamataas po ng PAO, Manila, no? So kung
Anong
malapit
isa?
lang po
Siya
kayo
ang
doon.
pinakamataas.
Siya pala,
Siya.
siya pala ang pinakamataas,
Ayan.
no?
Yan
So
ang mahirap pag
dahil,
wala ka eh.
oo, no? Dahil Attorney Mario wala ka, lahat po ng guest namin, tandaan niyo po, PAO, Public Attorney's Office, Manila, hanapin niyo po Attorney Mario Dionisio. Punta lang kayo doon at makikain po tayo at magkikita-kita tayo doon. Okay? So, yon.
Sige.
Bring your own baon daw.
Magdala lang po daw kayo ng plato at kutsara tinidor.
Opo, yan. And of course, syempre yung face mask pa rin kasi baka magkita kayo ni Omicron, mahirap na. Mahirap na yan.
Yung pansin ho, pwede nyo ilagay sa loob ng mask nyo.
Pwede yan, pwede yan. And speaking
Kaya
about
mag-N95
birthdays,
para mas maraming laman.
pwede. Oo. And speaking about birthdays, wala ba kayong gustong i-birthday na i-share na
Ikaw, malapit ka na.
O nga, Doc, happy birthday sa
Happy birthday
December 27, ha?
hanggang 25 na lang po yung kontrata ko sa Rotary Moments, ha?
Ganun ba?
Sa 26
Oy,
to 31. Pag-iisipan ko muna kung magre-renew ako.
Number one
Henry,
web TV channel tayo
Henry,
sa
pakibigay
Rotary.
yung pakipost yung address ng bahay ni Dr. Boggs para mapuntahan natin. Kaya wala ka o nandito ka o wala ka, susugurin ka namin.
Gaganapin ko po sa PAO, Manila, ha? Sa December 27 po. Doon ko po gaganapin. Hanapin niyo lang po, Attorney Mario Dionisio Jr.
Doon pa rin,
Joint
ha?
celebration
Doon
pala
pa
to.
rin. Yan. So, joint celebration yan.
Gusto mo
Baka-
makiselebrate
baka-
ka na rin bukas eh.
Oo nga pala, bukas. Pero maliban doon nga pala, sino pa bang may mga birthday pala sa inyo maliban sa akin? Yung isa po sa
yung
mga...
kapatid ko, magbe-birthday sa December 18. Yan, si
Yun.
Mark and Gradora.
Malapit na,
Yun, happy
malapit
birthday,
na.
Utoy. Yung
Mark,
youngest
happy
namin
birthday.
yan. Oo.
Yan.
Oo.
So, I wish you all the best sa inyo, lahat na nagbe-birthday. Sana lagi kayong malusog at sana bakunado na kayong lahat. And sana you will get all the the blessings that you are aspiring. At talaga may
Yes,
aspiring,
yes.
oh.
Oo.
Speaking
Tama
of
naman.
December 18, ay may project pang district natin sa December 18.
Ay, oo.
Saan?
Oo.
Oo. At second dose na yung isa dyan.
Ay, salamat naman. Ayan, oh. To. Ay, baliktad.
Second dose na siya.
Ako ba?
Birthday
Oo.
gift.
Birthday
Oo.
gift, oo. Oo. So,
Pa-birthday
yeah.
sa'yo.
Oo. So,
Oo.
tama, no?
Para
Ang-
pagdating ng birthday niya, fully vaccinated na siya.
Yan.
Oo. Pwede na akong
Oh,
lumabas.
yes.
Ayos.
Pwede na akong lumabas.
Uy, pero totoo yan, Doc, ha? AG Carlo and of course special guest Ken, no? Alam mo ba, nung nagpunta kami sa sa La Union, dun sa exit sa may Rosario, ayan, after the T-Plex, hinahanapan kami ng ano yun? Anong tawag doon,
Vaxxert.
Doc?
Vaxxert. Vaccination
Vaxxert.
card.
Oh, hindi, tsaka yung isa, may tawag sila, nakalimutan ko eh. Pinapabalik
Vaxxert.
kami.
Oh, Jesus Christ, grabe. Oo.
Kahit
Alin,
vaccinated
yung-
imagine binyahin namin yung ganung
yung
kalayo, tapos
natawag doon?
pinapa-U-turn kami sa papuntang Manila ulit.
Oh.
Grabe. Oo. So,
Di ba hindi na kailangan
Mabuti nga
ng
may
ano
mga
ngayon?
project kayong Rotary, tayong Rotary ng vaccination eh. And I have heard successful yung ninyo, Doc.
yes.
Yes.
This December 18 po, no, sa mga nakikinig, no, we would like to invite you, no, kung hindi pa kayo bakunado, no, or kung bakunado na kayo at nakakompleto na at nangangailangan po kayo ng booster dose, no, we will be providing booster doses po, no, sa Lung Center of the Philippines, no. This is on December 18, no. Ito po ay Sabado, no, mula 9 po ng umaga hanggang 3 o'clock ng hapon, no. Actually, nag-extend naman sila up to 5 o'clock. Pero, of course, ang pinaka-importante is dapat naka-online registration kayo, no. So, mamaya-maya, ito, yan, so nakikita nyo na yan. Yan, dyan po kayo magpa-register, no. So, just in case na, pero, syempre hindi naman lahat, no. Ano ba yung mga qualifications muna, no?
Sa booster.
Bago kayo magpa-booster
Booster
dose.
shots.
Booster shot, no. Number 1, dapat nakapagkumpleto na kayo ng bakuna, no. So, ibig sabihin dito kung kayo ay nabigyan na ng bakuna ng 2 beses, no. Except Janssen, no? Yung Janssen kasi isang beses ka lang kasi bibigyan eh, no? Kung nakatanggap po kayo ng 2, no? Tapos meron kayong palugit na 6 months, no? Then
6 months.
Yes, after 6 months, no? 6 months po from the last dose, no? Pwede
So,
kayong
June.
Yes, so June.
So,
Actually,
Kailangan June sila.
Oo, dapat
18.
kung kayo ay nabakunahan before June 18 or on June 18, pwede na kayong bakunahan
On or before.
on or before June 18, no? Pwede na kayong bakunahan sa Lung Center po to receive your booster doses, no? Pero kung kayo naman ay nabakunahan ng Janssen, no, yung Janssen, ito naman 3 months lang. Ibig sabihin, kung Janssen ang binakuna sa iyo, dapat 3 months lang yung pagitan from the first dose down to the booster dose. So yun.
Bakit yun? Bakit 3 months lang si Janssen na yan?
Yung
Para may
Janssen kasi,
discrimination yata.
hindi, kasi ang Janssen kasi, isang dose lang kasi yung binibigay sa iyo, no?
Oo.
So, dahil isang dose lang yung binibigay sa iyo, hindi yan katulad ng mga ibang, hindi katulad ng Sputnik, ng Sinovac, no, ng Pfizer, Moderna,
AstraZeneca.
Yan, no? Wherein that requires 2 doses, no? As a primary vaccination dose, no? Dahil isa lang 'yon, dapat 3 months lang daw, pwede ka nang bigyan. So kung ikaw ay nabigyan ng September 18 or earlier, no, ng Janssen, no? Again, pwede na ho kayong magpalista, no? So, ano po ang kailangan niyong dalhin? Ang kailangan niyo pong dalhin is ID, tsaka yung vaccination card. At, higit sa lahat, yung sarili ninyo, kailangan na niyong dalhin.
Syempre naman, di mo
makalimutan
pwedeng virtual injection eh.
Oo, baka kasi isipin nila bakit wala daw sakit? Ayun. So yun.
Yung Janssen na ba yan? Yung ba yung Johnson & Johnson? That's one and the same?
I believe so, no. I'm not really very familiar with vaccines, no, pero I think you are correct, no. That's Johnson and Johnson's pa rin, no? Yung Janssen na yan.
So may baby
So, yeah.
powder na kasama.
I think sa pag nagpabakuna yata kayo ng 12 ng December. Oo, may kasamang powder, no? Kasi 12-12 eh. 12-12, 20-21. Oo.
Uy,
Pero sa 18,
May giveaway. Wala na.
walang giveaway sa
Wala
18. Oo.
mas gusto yata ni AG Carlo lotion eh.
At may oil din sila. May oil din ng
Oil
Johnson
na lang.
and Johnson.
Oil or
Baby
lotion,
oil,
ano?
baby oil.
Powder kasi maganit.
Hindi ko alam
Hindi,
yan.
dry. Diba? Nade-dry, diba?
Pero ang powder naman kasi hindi walang madaling mawala, no? So kumbaga sa
Ah,
evidence wise, 'di ba? Medyo hindi
Wala ebidensya.
Bagay,
Oo. Yung oil kasi it sticks to the kailangan
Yes,
talagang
Tsaka yung
kailangan
lotion.
talagang sabunin, oo, tsaka yung lotion.
Hindi mo
Sa
hindi
mga Johnson,
yung special guest natin.
Oh, masyashock tuloy si Ken. Kasi walang, wala si Attorney Shane eh. Kaya nga pala, nasa si Attorney Shane?
Boss Fritz, no? Alam ko, maganda yung lecture mo, no? At ikaw ay naging tagumpay, no, sa iyong lecture, no, nung kamakailang Sabado, no, nakaraan, no?
Nakaraan.
Baka naman pwede mo namang pagbigyan kami. Wala kaming lady rito, wala kaming lady, no? Wala kaming lady. Kailangan namin ng
Wala
lady.
tuloy kaming knock-knock.
Wala rin kaming
Baka
pick
yung
up.
special guest
no?
natin may knock-knock. Hindi naman natin introduce properly eh, no?
Hindi,
Teka,
kasi
introduce muna natin si
Yes, please,
special
please.
guest.
Yan.
Marami
Okay.
naghihintay sa kanya since last week pa, nung binalita natin.
very true. Very true.
Oh.
Okay.
Bali, SDG Ken is a classmate namin ni Doc Boggs. Sabay kami naging presidente. During that time, he was the inspiring president of Escolta. Metro Escolta.
Metro Escolta.
Rotary Club of Metro Escolta. Sorry.
Yan. Oo.
Ayan. As of now, he is the current editor-in-chief of the Governor's Monthly Letter.
Yes.
And
yes,
napakagaling yan.
Naku, Diyos ko po.
Kung makikita nyo ang ating Governor's Monthly Letter, it's usually 100 pages.
Wow.
At pwede natin ipagmalaki sa ibang mga district. Hindi ko naman masyado nilalait yung ibang district. Pero sa akin mas maganda pa rin ang ating GML. Just because of the efforts of our SDG Ken.
I think there was already comments regarding yung sa sinabi mo, no, AG Carlo, no. There were comments na already coming from other district officers of other districts, no. Other district officers of other districts. Parang
Redundant.
parang
Officers lang.
officers pala of other districts, no. So and true enough, no. True enough, we'd like to put in here, no, yung link, no, yung Rotary GML namin, no, para at least makita nyo, just to see if it's really if we are true enough to our words talaga, which I
Baka
think you
akalain
would.
nila nagsisinungaling tayo.
Yes.
Hindi po. To see is to believe.
Yes. And ako naman, no, idagdag ko lang, no, among the many achievements ni SDG Ken during our time, he was the one who presented the best presentation, no, during our mid-year.
Mid-year,
no?
of course.
Mid-year, oo, no, siya yung
The
aming siya yung
The best oratorical.
grabe, oo.
Sige, marami na kayong binibigay sa kanya, so let's hear his voice. Gusto ko naman marinig ang boses ni SDG.
Eka,
Ken
wait,
Jamandre.
there's more.
There's more.
There's more. Teka,
Dali
wait,
lang.
there's more. Teka, asa
Nasa-
ba yung
Nasa first page pa lang ako. Oh, ito pa. Ito ba? Ang dami. Ano ba? Paano to? Isasubmit ko na lang to? Ipapopost ko na lang dyan?
Itanong na lang
ano?
natin sa kanya.
Ididepend mo natin ito.
Oo, okay,
Okay.
okay, okay.
Actually,
Sige.
he's also current professor in UP Diliman, right? And then he's taking up his doctorate right now in Ateneo de Manila University in Quezon City. Yan. And later to elaborate on all of this, tanungin na lang natin si SDG Ken. Yan. Anyway, sa'yo na muna.
So yun, so
SDG.
before, yes, yan, SDG. Pero siguro, di ba maganda mag-commercial break tayo para pagpasok
Sige. Tapos
sige,
papasok
sige.
si SDG
Diba?
Ken kaagad. Okay?
Yun,
Ah.
oo, yan.
So, let's pause for
Alright.
this.
Let's
We'll be
pause
right
for
back.
this. We'll be right back.
Rotary Moments is brought to you by NCL Printing Enterprise for your corporate office printing needs. We print high-resolution flyers and brochures, posters, calendars, receipts, business cards, tarpaulin, t-shirts, mugs, ID lace, Panaflex, foldable fans, umbrella, van or car stickers. We likewise print and customize paper bags, cake box, shoebox, and eco bags. If you are looking for online delivery of high quality produce like vegetables, fruits, fresh meat, seafoods, dried fish, groceries, snacks, health and wellness products, food packs, processed foods, dairy and eggs, then come and visit Green Earth by Santa Isabel Food Products Trading. Buy now and we will deliver right at your doorstep. Why risk going to the market when you can just order online and still acquire affordability yet fresh and quality produce you're looking for? You can likewise visit our Lazada shop for more products available. Just key in Green Earth by Santa Isabel Food Products Trading.
So
Ay,
ayan,
oy.
sabik na yung mga fans na marinig ang boses ni SDG Ken. Please, kahit ako gusto ko nang marinig, no?
Yeah,
So the
good
floor is
morning.
yours. Let us welcome SDG Ken Jamandre.
Yeah. Thank you. Good morning sa mga lahat ng ka-moments natin. Of course, I've been a fan of the show. Thank you, Sir
Yes.
Henry, AG Carlo, and of course, Doc Boggs. Sa dami ng sinabi no, tungkol sa akin kanina, it's really an honor to join this show. Alam ko from the pilot episode pa lang, we had millions of viewers, and to be actually part of this morning is an exciting way to start the day. I think just to clarify a couple of things no, that were mentioned, the role of the governor's monthly letter editor-in-chief is one of the milestones of my Rotary life. The other is about my profession, which is in the academe. Fortunately, siguro masasabi ko na in a way I'm very privileged that with these two interests in life, teaching and public service, they match in a way that it contributes to your growth, as a person. Kasi very enriching itong lahat ng mga experiences ng leadership, exposure to Rotary, and maybe later I will be able to mention how the Rotary Group Study Exchange was a life-changing moment for me
Yeah.
in relation to this year's theme. So kaya po, excellent ang GML is also because of course, my teammate, AJ Carlo Gonyo. and our webmaster, Dr. Boggs Rivera.
Yeah.
Yes,
Thank you.
yes.
Salamat, salamat, salamat.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
So I am in
Yeah.
good hands, no?
Mhm. Actually, ano no, just to highlight din no, it was coming from our classmate also no, si PP Dan no, PP Dan Tenorio, who practically mentioned no your name no as part of the Rotary Student Exchange Program way back daw before no. Sabi ko, what is a Rotary Student Exchange Program all about no? Kasi
Yeah.
honestly, wala akong idea talaga no. And I am not even sure whether we are still pursuing that kind of a program in Rotary with our districts no, with our district. And I had experience naman before no yung ibang district naman, like for example yung district 383 no, they have this exchange program naman na long term no. Yung sa atin daw Rotary 3810 is of that of a short term program. Sabi ko no experience, sabi ko baka naman, if I may, I'd like to throw in the first question no. Baka naman you can answer yung queries ng mga ibang tao no. What is the Rotary Exchange Student Program? How does it work no? And how does this help that person no develop his probably his leadership skills, uh, yung hindi naman ayoko sabing afterlife, yung real life no, yung future life no. How about that, Sir Ken?
Yes.
Sige, I'll try to give a comprehensive answer, no? Because it was really life-changing to say the least. It was called the Group Study Exchange Program, or GSE. I think I saw in the intro video as part of the history of Manila South. Di ba meron din tayong mga images na pinakita kanina? Nag-host
Yes.
din ang club no, ng Manila South from several nationalities.
Years
Yun.
ago.
Years
Yes.
ago.
So on my case, it was 2008, 2009 at that time. I worked as an AdSec of the Rotary Club of Manila San Miguel. Doon ko po nakilala yung mga Rotarians of that club. Kaya lagi ko pong binabanggit yun sa journey ko sa Rotary District 3810 that I started, with them. It wasn't just, a secretarial work, but it was really exposing myself to the world of volunteer work. Shout out ko po yun kay PP Betty Mangkao, former president. Pumasok po ako ng term niya. And then after that, I had to wait to be 25 years old to be officially nominated by the club. So 2008, 2009 happened. There was a rigorous screening process. No? We are professionals from different backgrounds hanggang sa mabuo yung team. So the GSE team is composed of professionals from various fields. Nagkataon, I was one of the lucky ones from the academe. May mga kasama ko nasa finance. Meron din isang lawyer. So the goal is for at least a month, a group of these Filipino professionals will be staying with a host country hosted by several host clubs. At that time, we went to California.
Wow, nice.
Wow.
Definitely remarkable kasi alam mo yung aspiration ng isang, I would want to believe at the time I had very simple dreams. No? I was parang fresh off from college and still figuring out what to do with life. And then Rotary happened. No? And then talagang sumunod-sunod siya. So we were bound for California. But before we went to California, we underwent many orientations, trainings, preparations. Ang dami naming practice ng mga Filipino songs. Para kang cultural ambassadors.
Uh,
No? And then we went to different district activities so that we could be really prepared to represent Rotary. Because one criterion was you are not allowed to be part of the GSE if you are a Rotarian. So dapat non-Rotarian ka, no? So before we went to California, meron namang team na pumunta din dito sa atin sa District 3810. So we met them, a group of professionals then, 5, 6, with a team leader, and then host cultural exposure aligned with your vocation or profession. So we went to California. We practically toured the entire Bay Area. So iba't ibang
Mhm.
Ba,
clubs
sarap nun
yon.
ah.
Sarap.
Oo,
Bay is one of the best part of
Yes,
California.
oo.
definitely, definitely.
Yes.
So yung feeling lang na at that time, just really preparing for that trip, we knew that we had to be uh, mentally, emotionally, physically ready because we were already adults in a way. But at the same time, we had an important goal, which is to represent the Philippines, to know more about Rotary. Doon mo makikita yung comparisons on how districts operate kasi very relative, yung konsepto natin ng service. Doon ko nakita, for example, yung, wow, ito pala yung kanilang feeding program. Parang hindi po ito feeding program pag iniisip ko yung
Masyado ba
nangyayari sa
maganda?
oo, sa Pilipinas. Parang pwede po akong pumila doon sa feeding program ninyo, no?
Masyado ba sosyal?
Yeah, and it was therefore, at the very least, if you're talking about the lessons na, no, reflections, that cultural immersion, much as it was relatively short, safe to say, a month, no? But every single day kasi, we get to be in a different place, meet as many Rotarians,
Different people.
yeah, and then share who we are, and then make that meaningful exchange. I think my last point for this short introduction is about the idea of me representing or aligned with my vocation, which is in the academe. So dahil yun po yung aking vocation, kumbaga, in relation to vocational service of Rotary, my requests were if you could bring me to as many schools, if you could allow me to meet as many school administrators, students, anyone related or has interest or advocacy in education. So yun po sana yung ma-meet ko because I will be able to develop myself, bring this home, and learn it in a way that probably I will enhance my teaching in UP or school admin work in UP. So my specific example at this point is it was such a mind-blowing experience because our
Mhm.
first trip was at Stanford.
Wow.
So, jet lag and all, parang ang bungad pa lang sa amin ay, okay, your first stop in relation to your vocation is we're going to Stanford. So, you could just imagine all the excitement. You're wide-eyed, you're young, and then
Natanggal ang antok mo.
yeah, everything in between. And parang ang dami mong tanong sa mga host clubs mo. But because the first stop pa lang was at a top university, going to the different classrooms, meeting some professors and the like, that alone is a remarkable part of the entire GSE program. And it has evolved through the years. But that's something very specific to my experience. So
Oo.
there.
Nice,
Wow.
nice. Grabe, grabe, no?
Yeah.
Um,
I think I
it's
remember that yung yung sinasabi ni Ken. But I was dati, if I hope I'm not wrong with this. I think my dad was one of those who were choosing before sa ating district, and I think I was in college pa yata noon.
Mhm.
So I have seen a lot na yan nga yung mga parang exchange sila, papadala sila sa ibang bansa and so on. And then meron pa ngang dumating dito sa bahay namin tumira from Japan.
Mhm.
So she stayed in our place for a few weeks, I think. Uh, and ako pang naging niya noon school bus niya.
Tour guide.
Tour guide. I have to bring her to different places as much as
Yes.
hindi, when I'm free, no. There was a time I have to bring her to PWU
Mhm.
before I was supposed to go to my school. Pero sinamahan ko siya doon sa loob, and then uh, the thing that I cannot forget about that is that pagpasok ko doon sa office ng dean, in-English ako ng mga tao. Akala nila ako yung Hapon. Tapos yung Haponesa, siya yung escort. Siya yung ano ko.
Interpreter.
Hindi, siya yung Pilipino. Akala
Oo.
nila.
Mm,
So, mas mukha
I
ko
see.
Hapon sa kanya. Tapos siya
I
mas
see.
mukhang Pilipino.
I see.
And I heard that, pero hindi ko talaga alam kung ano talagang ginagawa nila.
Mm.
And hearing from our classmate Ken, parang, wow, ganun pala yun.
Mhm.
Ano ba yan, Sir Ken? Annually or has this been going on regularly, itong exchange na to?
Yes, it's done annually. I do not know exactly the entire timeline, no, kasi I think the program also evolved. Aside kasi from the group study exchange program, last I checked, meron pa rin definitely youth exchange program. Merong tinatawag din na friendship exchange. So it has varied to include, for example, specific vocation lang. Yung iba naman for friendship, yung iba naman for cultural purposes. So
I see.
recently, I think nag-evolve na yung program. Our batch was, I think, if I remember correctly, the second or third to the last na naging part ng GSE. Kaya iba rin talaga yung claim to fame, no? That it's a select few who will
Correct.
be privileged to be part of the program. And it's really giving back to Rotary eventually. That's probably why I'm as
Yeah. Parang
active
paying it
right now.
forward. You're
Yes.
paying
Who
it forward.
selects the delegate? I mean, the students to be sent abroad, or sino nagsiselect? At saka yung mga criteria na siniset nila, sinong nag-ano noon, nag-set ng mga guidelines na yon?
I think there was parang selection committee handled by the district, no?
Mhm.
Ang game plan ko lang at the time was, okay, wow, na recognize ako ng Manila San Miguel, and then I prepared all the documents from the forms to the essay hanggang sa pag nag-qualify kasi may titrim down
Interview.
eh. Yeah, after that, after the paperwork, we underwent a panel interview. That alone was grueling kasi itetest ka
Correct.
eh, di ba? Kung ano yung alam mo sa sarili mo, sa kultura mo. And then there were
Ah,
probably 5 or 6 Rotarians of various positions in the district. And then you just have to be really, cliche as it may sound, you have to be yourself. Kasi pag tinanong, okay, I'll give you a sample question at a time. Pag tinanong ka ng iyong host club na, oh, ang mga Pilipino kumakain ng aso. Because it's a cultural exchange program, di ba? You're supposed to
Oo.
develop your cultural sensitivity, no?
yes.
How you compose yourself. Kasi, okay, ipapahiya ko ba? Kasi kultura namin to. But at the same time, you have to be honest enough to explain that these are our social realities. So
Yes.
there's a paperwork, the panel interview, and I think eventually I received an email confirmation that yun, I was part of the team, and then almost a year po yun na preparation until we had to, of course, undergo acquiring the visa, no? Very important yon more than anything else.
Siyempre.
Parang yung RI convention natin ngayon, di ba, na gusto nating ma-ensure na
Oo.
mapadala natin. Otherwise, they will prepare for plan B. No? Kasi may paparating na mga Americans, and then the Filipinos will have to be also prepared, no? Para makompleto din yung buong team. So, yun po yung screening process hanggang sa makarating kami doon.
Na-mention mo yung mga questions na yan, SDG Ken, no? Ano yung isang question na nag-register, yung talaga nagmarka sa'yo, na naitanong sa'yo nung pinadala ka abroad?
Yes.
The most remarkable was the question on my being young.
Aha.
Kasi I was turning 25. So it's really just, at the cut off of the criterion. Na para bang, okay, what can a young person really contribute compared to my
Do.
peers at that time? That they were in their 40s, and then they had established careers. No, I was safe to say wondering with my career options and how will I be able to really represent with a certain level of maturity that probably retirees would expect. But given that inquiry about my well young age at that
Youthness.
time, yeah,
Mhm.
I was basically being true to myself, meaning as innocent, as honest, as open as saying, well, I am in the academe, I know what I'm doing, I know what I'm capable of, I know how to be able to represent the country in a way that I think I'll be able to do public service in a way that would benefit this program. Um, there's nothing can go wrong with your truth. Eh. So
Oo.
Yeah.
I was presenting myself
Oh,
as I
tama
am,
naman.
and it was
Mhm.
never a hindrance of me being young. So I think ano naman, I think I was able to convince them.
Oh, yes, yes,
Oo,
yes. So,
mukha nga. Pero
oo,
ano,
oo naman.
you said that you started with RC San Miguel. You were ADSEC. How do you come? Paano ka napunta doon? How did it
Mm,
start?
sige.
Mhm.
Ano po ito? Kwentong long lens of
Sige,
leadership
sige.
studies, no?
Yeah, sure, sure, sure.
I was in college 2004 until I graduated 2004. I met an instructor of the Department of Speech Communication and Theater Arts. Her name is Sandra Yebron. Sandra has an aunt, si PP Betty Mancao, who works at the Rehabilitation Medicine of the Philippine General Hospital or PGH.
Mhm.
So
Yes.
I met Sandra. I worked as a student assistant in our department.
Mhm.
So I knew Sandra. Sandra knew me as a, student assistant na andyan lagi sa department. And then I was doing as best as I could naman academically until she remembered na, okay, PP Betty Mancao is looking for a secretary. So through Sandra Yebron, I met PP Betty Mancao, met the entire Manila San Miguel, who met every week at Sheraton. And I prepared everything for the weekly meetings. So you could imagine that level
Ah,
of parang familiarity, no? Exposure then to the
Rotary.
Rotary. Ano yun, pa-centennial year. Yung mga ganong milestones ng Rotary.
Oo.
Yeah, 2008. And then, I met more and more retirees kasi district activities, diba? Mga ganong lahat ng fellowship. So, Sandra, PP Betty Mancao, and then tuloy-tuloy na po hanggang sa GSC. And now, very happy with
Ayan na.
our district. Very fulfilled.
One time, may nabasa ako sa iyo. I think medyo matagal na to eh. You posted a very long narration of your life before. Actually, binasa ko yun eh. Sabi ko, ang ganda ng story ng buhay mo. And then, syempre, ang galing rin ng pagka-present ng pagkasulat niya. So, can you tell us more of what I read before? Maybe you can elaborate more on it.
Oh,
Siguro.
thank you, AG Carlo. I'm
Binasa ko yun.
very, yeah, I'm very humbled, of course, and pleased to be able to share a
Oo.
snippet of my life. No, I remember, for example, LCP Mario sharing, our unique backgrounds.
Yes.
No, the life of struggles and successes, and I empathize with that on a very personal level as well. First, I would like to point out that writing is a passion as much as I enjoy reading. Kaya siguro, along the way with these experiences, I'm able to reflect on what happened to my life, eventually giving me the opportunity to sit down one day and write about it and
Mhm.
narrate in a concise way, maybe fit for social media consumption. But that's not the goal of the
Oo.
writing. it was a way of me sharing, if it would be able to inspire other people one way or the other. I come from a very humble family. My province is in Iloilo.
Mhm.
I have a unique
Mm.
setup with my family. Um, we had our ups and downs, and then I'm the youngest of the three kids. We're all males. I happen to be sabihin na lang natin na Bibo kids sa school. Despite the challenges in our household, my consciousness was directed to, I think I'll do well in school. I had very supportive schoolmates, friends, teachers, and community that became my sanctuary. Na para bang pag school, I think I will be able to showcase what I'm interested and then what I'm good at, and at the same time learn what the things I need to work on. So because of that interest in studies, I also developed different interests. Okay, dito ka, sabihin na natin mas magaling or nag-excel. So that became my life in a very small community, very tight community, in Iloilo, from kinder to high school, until the time when I think adulting happened, that you have to go to college,
All right.
to use
Yeah.
a millennial term, kumbaga. I think the crucial moment there was, okay, what happens in college? I would want to believe that I grew up in a secure, safe, conservative environment, that I wasn't the most exposed person. There's a big world out there pala. Kaya yung parang yung GSE experience, parang wow, ang laki pala talaga ng mundo, coming from a tiny
Yes.
tiny space. So para sa akin, high school happened. I think I was doing well naman in the ACADS, etc. So the turning point was college. And then of course UP happened. I think the narrative there is quite maalaala mo kaya in a way,
Mhm.
because it was a decision I had to make to transition, to uproot myself from a comfortable environment and then go to a bigger world at the time, which was Manila and specifically Quezon City.
Yes. Yes, yes,
And
yes.
Oo.
para bang you had to have courage
Mhm.
to
Oo.
I I
Nakakatakot yun.
I took
Mhm.
the boat lang, simpleng mamamayan eh. Ganun yung, at least yung identity ko at that time. Typical probably from the story. So punta sa Manila, dala lang ang isang bag ng ilang damit, and I think a few thousand pesos, and I was just really
Yun na.
thinking, okay, so Diliman, this is it. You have to sink or swim on that. And because of that leap of faith, na para bang pagdating ng malaking mundo ng Quezon City, no, pagkain man yan or transportation, and the very
Oo.
intimidating schoolmates na, 'di ba?
Oo.
Wow, okay. Hindi pala tayo ganun kagaling as I thought. Marami pala
Correct.
talagang mas magaling sa mundo. And then it
Mhm.
changes your
Mhm.
perspectives. But on a regular basis, I go back to the dormitory thinking about, so do I eat or do I photocopy readings? So ganun ka basic ang lifestyle at that time. So anyway, yun, that was a transition point, the journey hanggang sa naging okay naman tayo sa UP life. And I think that post, as AJ Carlo asked, was able to resonate to a lot of my, at least, friends online,
Mm.
that I think made a certain impact about how we view our beginnings and how we continue to dream big, because it will never be smooth, just like with many people. But I think if somewhere along the way you can find yourself that you are with the good people, the right people, you'll be fine, and you'll be able to join Rotary Moments and be able to share a glimpse
Your
of
experience.
how you were able to live fully until now.
Sir
Wow.
Ken,
Wow.
you are young and you already have achieved so much. No, what are you most proud of among your achievements?
My most recent post is about my nanay. I was gathering all my emotions about it. I've learned as I grow older that it becomes less of me,
Uh huh.
honestly. Yung idea na when I take these subjects on spirituality, ethics, innovation, it's so parang all out there eh. Parang ang kailangan
Okay.
lakas ng validation with social media. But as I
Mm-hmm.
go deeper to myself, it becomes really less of me. So kung achievements po, no, intrinsic motivation, I can probably list some of them and they are in my CV for promotion purposes. But they will all be secondary
Okay.
because my genuine happiness, especially at this very season of Christmas, is about
Yeah.
my family and specifically
Mhm.
to my mother. And then as long as for me, as one of her children, she lives a simple, decent, and happy life that will be more than any achievement the world will bestow on me or something that I will probably be work hard for. Kasi we haven't seen each other for the entire pandemic season. Eh. And when I look back,
Oh.
okay, I do have an okay naman life. I have my background of the Christmas tree. But in the end, diba, we're talking about the most essential thing, the most essential
Yes.
aspects of our lives. And um, her birthday will be in February. But really, when I reflect on all these things, material rewards, recognitions, SDG, for example,
Mhm.
if I'm not being able to to give a big part of myself and honor the person who has brought me where I am today, then I think that would be a disservice to the life of my mother. So
Okay.
that's short of saying I miss my nanay so much. So shout out.
Yes. Yes, yes. Alam nyo, parang ano, no, looking at the remarkable people I've met, no, in my life, no, SDG, Attorney LCP Mario, SDG Ken, IC Henry, no, um, I see yung progression from a very simple life, no. Maybe some of us hindi na simple yung buhay, but some of us still have that kind of um, understand where we came from, no, yung mga simple life na where we actually came from, no. And nakakatuwa, no, nakakatuwa kasi in a sense na I am hoping that itong show na to can bring inspiration, no, to the viewers, no. And talking about mothers, no, I really I was touched by what Sir Ken said, no, mothers, and that's what we're trying to do, no, with Cervic, no. Hindi ko pina-plug pero um,
Mm.
si Henry, no, and Mark and Rodora lost their parents to cervical cancer, no. Siya yung padre de pamilya, no. I'm sorry, Henry, if I should be
Such.
Okay.
asking you, no, pero in a simple way, at that point in time, no, when they lost their mother, no. So ang point ko lang, I guess, is it's really it's that important, no, when you when you lose a mother, no. That's why we need to give back to them also, no. But of course, syempre, sabi nga ng iba, this is a cervical cancer kasi daw is a social disease, no. So kung ito daw ay naging penile cancer, no. I mean, if HPV can cause 99% of penile cancer, matagal nang na-eradicate to. Because it's the men who dominates the world, di ba? Mostly
Until now.
until
Although,
now, no?
yeah.
Pero but because of, alam mo yon, yung uncanny characteristic of being a mother, no? Bigay lahat sa anak, bigay lahat sa asawa. Alam mo yon, ako
Iba.
huli na. No, I don't care. Hayaang, alam mo yun, it's just so it's just so unfair, or pero I mean I don't know how to phrase it better, no, pero I think we should, it's really ganun na lang, no, it's really high time to really focus on them and give them the awareness they need, no, to take care of themselves. Siningit ko lang, pero um those two things, no, that there, itong mga nakikilala namin sa Rotary, most of them are coming from nothing to huge, no, something like that, no, and that most of them are saying, you know, it's the mother who's, you know, who they give their life to, no, back to, no, parang ganun. So yun lang, no, and
Totoo yan, Doc.
thank you for
Mm.
sharing.
Nadagdagan nga AG Carlo and Doc yung respeto ko kay Sir Ken kasi he values his mom so much, and yun, nabanggit mo na rin yung nanay ko na nawala nung mga bata pa kami, at ako yung tumayo na mother sa mga kapatid ko kasi being the eldest, mahirap talaga. So saludo ako sa iyo, Sir Ken, for giving so much importance sa nanay mo. Alam mo kasi, whenever you value your mom, you can never go wrong. Sa lahat ng mga nakakausap ko who values his family, talagang nagiging successful sa life. Kasi yun ang nagiging core nila eh. Yung nagiging parang inspiration nila to achieve more in life and to give back also to others.
Yeah.
Family first.
Yes, family first.
Family
Correct.
first.
Correct.
So,
Correct.
yun,
Saka na yung second
na-touch lang ako
family.
sa sinabi ni Doc eh. So, going back to you, Sir Ken, you are an educator as well as a public servant. So, what are you first? An educator or a public servant?
Interesting.
Wow, okay yun.
Oo, pa-beauty pageant question na tayo.
World peace.
Oo, syempre kung options, di ba, I would of course answer, they go hand in hand. You know, that's one safe answer. The other answer is, of course, I will be categorical and upfront about it by answering the question by choosing the academic first. So whichever my answer goes naman, I think what I would want to highlight to address the question is the life in the academe has been the most influential aspect of my growth. I did not dream to be a teacher. I did not have influences in our immediate family who have been teachers, but I found solace, I found comfort, I found purpose in the profession in the academe. Wala na ako sa argument about the teacher is teaching rather has the is a noblest profession, no? Because we're just subjecting ourselves to a ranking or others' perspectives, no? We can always benefit from each other's perspectives. But the academe, loyalty award man siguro na masabi natin, it's been my first and only job for 17 years. So 17 years na tayo sa academe. And
Yes.
UP lahat yan. Ha?
yes, one and only. The growth, the growth has been amazing. Kasi doon mo makikita, no, given the nature of the school pa naman, first and foremost, Sir Henry, it's a public university. So as a state university, that alone is a perfect marriage to address that question about academe or public servant. I do both and more. I've been doing that for the past 17 years. Kaya ako nasa academe, kaya ako din naging loyal sa university is because the system in itself has allowed me to venture in other advocacies, whether it's Rotary or other service organizations. Merong prime importance yung values na okay, there are honor and excellence, that should be foremost, but this is my catchphrase lagi, whether I'm talking to friends or especially to students. There's nothing quite like academic freedom.
Mhm.
Because of academic freedom, the mind goes to all places. The actions are concretized. You're allowed to be free. And because you're
Yes.
allowed to be free, so to speak, um, you become limitless. So whether you specifically envision, ito yung konsepto ko ng public service. Kailangan I have to be an official, for example, of this barangay or distrito. But no, no. Public service will also come in different forms. If I believe that I've been doing my responsibility based on the standards of the university, that already encapsulates my idea of public service. If I were to be really passionate about personal gains, lalo specifically pag finances, no, I could consider other careers that would probably give me a little more, no,
Mhm.
Yes.
than usual. But public service kasi in the context of academic freedom, yung pagpunta pa lang sa university on a regular basis, kasi ang klase ko 7 a.m.
Aray ko.
That
Wow.
Ang aga.
yes. Oo. Mangilan-ngilan
Right.
lang po kaming may ganyang lifestyle. Yung
Schedule.
yeah, at one point sabi ko, okay, I have a 12-hour shift kasi kasabay ko po lagi yung security guard ng building, no, na pumapasok. And dahil I have also administrative work, syempre napapalate din tayo minsan hanggang sa mga meetings, consultations, etc. So on a regular basis, me reporting to the school, facing my students, preparing for them, listening to all their stories, listening and learning from my colleagues, representing the university. Kasi ang laki pa naman ng university, no? There are college, Diliman, and system levels. And for me to be able to represent the university here and in other countries, I think that would be safe to say that um, it's a public service in an academic form. So, yun po, sir.
Yes. So ikaw marami ka ng ano Sir Ken na I mean you have motivated a lot of persons, siyempre yung mga nakaka-deal mo day in and day
Mga
out.
students.
So
I
how
hope
do you motivate yourself?
Yes.
Oh, yes.
now that I'm almost 40 years old, the most
Di nga.
recent, yes, I'm almost
Galata.
40.
Really?
Yes. Kahit tingnan niyo po
Okay.
yung birth certificate ko sa PSA. At tanungin niyo po yung nanay ko.
Ay, pero maganda.
Sige.
Oh.
The the most recent class I had in my PhD was spirituality and ethics. No?
Oh, ano yun?
Studying right now, studying right now in the midst of online learning,
Pandemic.
no, in the pandemic is a test of motivation.
True.
Parang attend ba ako sa class na to? Modules ba ang pag-uusapan natin? What happens to my classmates? What happens to my profs? Everyone's adjusting, with their rules. What motivates me are the what motivates me. I'll just give one answer. Is that desire to be able to help those who need it, who need help more than I would at this point. Papunta na po tayo sa altruism, selfless service because on a regular basis, it's a Sunday morning, I wake up, where does my gratitude come from? Because of spirituality, introspection, and this goes beyond any religion po. Just that idea of me being able to reflect on where I am at the comfort of my home, but there's a big chaotic world out there. What else can I help to be able to make lives of other people a little easier? I will not solve world hunger, but I've learned through the years of my philosophy journey that you do things that you can control, for example, no? So sa abot lang na makakaya, kasi mapapagod ka rin talaga in terms of
Yeah.
wanting, di ba, to solve everything. So that for me is motivation enough that, for example, if AJ Carlo mentioned that he remembered that post about a piece of my life. So if I think that would be useful and valuable to people in various capacities, that would encourage me to continue writing and sharing my stories,
Yes.
editing all the stories of the
Other.
LCPs, deadlines every month. Kasi pag nag-update ako kay Gov Robert Coa, Gov Robert, shout out po.
I will
I
go.
know, yeah, I
Hi,
know that,
Gov.
yeah, I know that motivation that maybe, maybe this particular issue of the month can help someone would be able to read this article. So it's also about, of course, the small things. But if I believe I can make a positive difference, we always look for the common good of our fellow humans out there. Laban po ulit tayo sa kinabukasan.
Wow.
Ayan. Maganda
Totoo.
yun, di ba, AG Carlo?
Oh. How about your can you tell us more about ano ba yung mga tinuturo mong alas 7 ng umaga? And then also nabanggit ko kanina you're studying your doctorate right now at Ateneo. And also why Ateneo not other schools? Mahal dun eh.
Nako,
Mabuti na
mapapa
lang morning person si Sir Ken, ano? Nandito siya ngayon sa ating programa.
Oo nga eh.
Sunday morning. Nako, mapapa-off the record ba ako? No. Of course, I will
No, no,
answer.
no, no.
I will answer that. My department, I honor our department, is excuse me, Speech Communication and Theater Arts Department, part of the College of Arts and Letters. We're the humanities cluster. So I do handle speech communication courses. No? Laging misconception yan. So ano ba kayo? Broadcom ba kayo? Com arts ba kayo? Anything that has got to do with human communication, including mediated communication, we teach that. So at 7 a.m., as part of a general education course, it's a GE course in the university. I think core course din po siya, no? It may be
Oo.
optional for others. So at 7 a.m., I teach a public speaking class. So you could imagine,
Wow.
at 7 a.m., syempre hindi alam ng students. Ngayon, alam na nila kasi nasa digital footprint na to malalaman nila. There will be an impromptu speech. So, public speaking at 7
So,
a.m. But before we even talk about public speaking persuasion for an entire semester, we do understand the basics, concepts, theories, frameworks, hanggang sa at least, to the best of my ability with this speech class, at the end of the semester, you become a better communicator. Kasi iba't iba yung pinanggagalingan lagi niyan. Meron ka ng magaling na public speaker, let's say, sa class. Meron kang gusto pang mag-improve. At meron talagang gusto mo pang tututukan. As long as, for me, with all the rubrics out there, syllabus, etc., for me, if you're genuine and honest to yourself that you have become a better communicator at the end, at least, of that semester, and get to apply it after the semester, your entire college life, until you become a professional, then at least you have achieved the course goals. Kailangan ganun po siya ka-basic na soft skill, as others would derogatorily describe it. But it's such a basic life skill that we all should have. And because of that interest, I told myself, okay, I've been in the communication department for more than a decade. I've had my admin work. I knew I had to also change. And because of this change, I got to fulfill my other life goals. Sabi ko, even before humanities kasi, I was already inclined with the social sciences, specifically psychology. So pasok po, yeah, I scouted different programs here and abroad. I did try, I looked for scholarships, but I would want to believe that there's a destiny for all of us. And so, I ventured to the Battle of the Katipunan. Tawid po ako sa ating
Tumawid
beloved,
ka.
one big fight, UP fight,
Oo.
one big UP fight. Um,
Ah,
I took my time. It took me 10 years to reflect, to decide. And I think by the grace of the Lord din, he led me to the right direction, so to speak. The program is leadership studies. The major is organization development. In a way, others would have this idea that it's about industrial organizational psychology. So why leadership, diba? It's a relatively new
oo.
program because it focuses on business leaders, organization development, good governance. But my particular interest is with the psychology department. So very interesting kasi when we have meetings, executive committee meetings, area meetings, department meetings, I get to analyze the role of the leader, the behavior of the leader. So ganun ka fundamental yung idea na, okay, so we're having this episode right now, right? Where's leadership here? We're all leaders, so to speak. Because by the very fundamental definition of it, as long as there is an influence process to a follower to achieve a certain goal, then that by definition alone would suffice for leadership. Okay? So doon po ako pumapasok sa, okay, in Rotary, what is leadership in a volunteer org in NGOs? So as long every semester I get to learn new concepts, but at the same time, surprisingly, I'm the one who's benefiting kasi nagagamit ko siya in real life. And I get to write my papers about my Rotary experiences and get to participate in classroom recitation because of those very personal experiences. So it's a very exciting field because with the election, upcoming election, all our experiences with their influence with our
Oo.
family, businesses, dun ko rin po na naho-hone at na-apply itong mga konsepto about it. Parang people think I have to read more about Filipino leadership. Eh, saktong-sakto. It is about our uh, present situation. So that's the speech communication and leadership studies
Grabe,
2.0,
grabe.
very condensed version.
Mhm.
Ah,
I am both excited and worried, no? Kasi one is because SDG Ken will be soon, not only soon, but will be part of our show, no? So I am worried because we will be receiving derogatory messages from time to time, no? Of the way we act, no, of the way we speak in the show, no. Perhaps I should bring tissue paper beside me, no, kasi
Nosebleed?
nosebleed, no. But excited kasi we know na that we will be going on the right track as far as influence is concerned, no, influencing, not really influencing people, but more so expressing, communicating to our audience, no,
Yes.
the right way of how uh, to make that happen, no, or to make or to influence them in the right way that we want them to see, no. I'm very excited talaga, grabe, and wag sa mga aming tagapagpanood, no, wag niyo na ho kayong mag-isip pa, no. Ken Jamandre sa darating ng Mayo, tandaan.
Uy, iba yan.
you know what? One thing one thing I noticed when nag-apply for college yung anak ko, yung panganay, I never realized na gano'n na pala kadami ang courses ngayon. Like yung sinasabi nga ni Mate Ken, yung kanyang doctorate now is kasi dati parang pag sinabing doctorate, it's yung PhD ba, ano yun? Parang it's just talking about one particular thing or gano'n, no? Pati nga yung masters, dati pa ni MBA, Masters in Business Administration. But now there are so many different things to master. And sa doctorate, ano, And I know some people na dalawa, tatlong kanilang masters. May mga dalawang doctorate for some reason. I don't know. I don't understand yung courses nila. Until now, if I looked at the listahan ng mga courses sa college, there are courses there I don't understand. Diba? Talaga nag-specialize na eh. Hindi katulad nung araw na pag nag-business, accounting, management, ganyan, the basic, marketing. Now it's more on, mas parang na ano pa yung, parang tag dito, parang na microscope nila or
Yes.
nagkaroon ng ibang path or direction or branch out ang iba-ibang section na ano. And yes.
Carlo, that's really the way to go kasi even in medicine, no? Kung kunwari nabalian ka ng kamay, no? Sasabihin sa'yo, you need to
Ortho.
go to an orthopedic. Ay, okay. Pag pumunta ka ng ER, no, meron kang makikitang levo orthopedic, dextro orthopedic. Ano ho ba itong levo at saka dextro? Pag sir, nabalian ho kayo ng kaliwang kamay, doon po kayo sa levo. Pag sa kanan po, doon po kayo sa dextro. Hindi, joke lang yun. Joke lang. Pinapasakay ko lang kayo.
Maniniwala na sana ako.
Oo nga eh, ina-absorb ko na eh. Pinaprocess na ng mind ko eh.
Umagang kay ganda po, pasensya na.
Inawi pa eh.
Hindi tayo
Go ahead.
ni Mate Ken na gising kagad ng alas 7 eh. Tayo,
Exactly.
alas 10 na ng umaga, yung diwa natin nasa kama pa.
ano pa yung ano ba tawag doon yung nagpo-process pa, nagla-login pa, hindi pa kagad parang mahina ang connection sa internet.
Nagbo-boot pa.
Naglo-load pa. Oo.
Not only that, no, speaking about kama, no, kasi alam ko behind those books, behind Mate Carlo, and behind the sofa bed, behind you, Henry, is a bed. Behind.
How are you so sure that we're not sitting on a bed right now?
Joke lang mga ka-moments, but sorry for disrupting the pinapatawa lang po namin kayo. Pero one question, Mate Ken, no, SDG Ken, no, to be precise and proper, no, is if we are going to help people, in the light of your advocacy, more on, the academe, teaching, is there a role sa tingin mo of automation, like maybe software or programs or anything? The reason why we're asking that kasi is we yung survey kasi is already on that aspect na eh. We're starting now by January of this year, one of our members kasi is a good developer as far as software is concerned, no. So ang tanong ko lang is if we would venture into helping also, no, other students or other people or other children, or is there part of automation that you can see in that process of education or in the process of delivering education information to people?
Yeah, I'll try to address or react to that question based on very personal experiences, but at the same time having this mindset of being open-minded, no? Kasi tapos na tayo sa Industrial Revolution, diba? If you recall that phases, and then talagang pa 4.0 na tayo, kumbaga.
Yes.
If we're talking about automation in all aspects, my overarching principle there is everything about artificial intelligence to me is fascinating. No? Whether it's in the improvement of our digital banking experiences, or helping our students secure a gadget so that he or she can participate in a synchronous class, or at this moment, the norm of the webinars. Kasi dati option lang naman yun, di ba? We
Yes.
wanted to travel, physically be there, attend conferences, and enjoy the unlimited coffee. But now, being able to embrace technology, advancement, development, whatever label they may be called, I think everyone should be able to at least learn from it. I'm
Yes, yes,
emphasizing
yes.
learn because there will always be resistance. No,
Yes.
as the moment you introduce a new model, a new concept, something unfamiliar, it's but normal to question. And then if your values, interests are not aligned with, for example, automation, di ba, mas marami kang tanong, you're not certain, or baka naman comfortable ka na sa isang pamamaraan, then there will always be difficulty or challenge. Kaya pumapasok yung role ng mga champions, in relation to that. If you have people who are strong believers, advocates, and who are consistent, no, with the promotion and education of those who need to be convinced or converted, then I think it will always be beneficial. What I would want to add, however, is coming from an LDE course, it's called Learning Development and Evaluation course, LDE. We can introduce concepts always. Parang okay, just recently, ano ba yung bago, for example, Lapu-Lapu, no? As trivial as the Lapu-Lapu change of the name. Or maybe tomorrow, Omicron, etc., etc. In LDE, we have our usual framework, approaches, methodologies. We design how we'd want to educate people. But we almost always forget or fear evaluation
Mm.
because it confronts our weaknesses. So if we're going to promote, advocate new ways of thinking, new ways of teaching, new ways of learning, we should be able to accept the feedback, the comments of our intended audience or learners. Para
Yes.
bang at the end of every semester for the past 17 years, when I look at my students' evaluation,
Mm-hmm.
I get to confront reality, no?
Correct.
Yes.
Correct.
Dito ako nag-succeed, ito yung area for improvement. They would comment about the softness of my voice, but appreciate certain aspects of my teaching. And then you reflect, you pivot, lalo ngayon, because of evaluation, the name of the game is agile leadership din ngayon eh. Ba? With everything very complex right now, if we do not get to listen to the feedback of our stakeholders, you cannot change, you cannot improve with your promotion of your advocacy. There will be learning curves and all that, diba? Educating and telling people about cervical cancer, for example, or other diseases. Pero if you're steadfast and if you yourself learn and admit that you will become better, it will be a smoother journey. Andyan na yung technology. We live in it
Oo.
and it will get more complicated in the next few decades and centuries. So I think it's equally important for us to reflect and evaluate where we're heading.
Yes. 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 Yes.
Tama
Sabagay,
yun.
learn from your
We really
experience
have to
talaga.
listen to the other's opinion kasi in that
Mhm.
way, we could also learn and improve more ourselves. Now, I have a question to you, Mr. Ken. How do you effectively introduce a concept? Meron bang formula para makapag-introduce ng concept sa mga tao?
Sige, I'll situate it in the classroom setting po, no? In public speaking, we do audience analysis
Okay.
in any communication situation. Kasi communication is a receiver-centered event. No? Just to put it out there. So the question is about how do I introduce a concept? Ultimately, you should have that mastery to begin with, diba? You should have the, and I'll go very rhetorical here, as in Aristotle, ethos, pathos, and logos, those concepts on persuasion. If you have the mastery, if you have the skill set, if you have the credibility, ba? When someone says pa lang na, okay, this personality has credibility, madaling-madaling mag-introduce ng concept. On the other hand, it's important to study the needs of our audiences. So
Okay.
public speakers would go to the length of talagang aalamin yung profile, ano yung interest, babagay ba to? And di ba through the years, nagbabago yung profile ng students. I started with chalk, Manila paper, overhead projector, but they are no longer relevant to the TikTok audience of today.
Yes, right.
So the moment I wake up, whatever is trending, if I believe that could be a conversation starter, no, just to introduce a concept, then I think immediately I would be successful in my attention step. But attention step, it's fleeting. Your goal will always be something bigger, something deeper, something more meaningful by having that engaging conversation as you continue. One step pa lang po yun. But as long as you catch their attention, introduce yourself probably in the most highly credible way that you can, yeah, they're the right person to listen to. Next thing you know, they're hooked, they understand you, and better yet, they will engage kasi you encourage them to have a dialogue with you. Nagbabago yung teaching methods, yung pedagogy na akala mo ang teacher lang yung mayalam. No, it's about proper facilitation of learning. So through the years na ma-master mo yun, di ba? Kung merong 21st century learning skills, you should be able to adapt. So I hope that answers
Yeah, it does.
how to start, but also how to make it meaningful until the end.
Actually,
Habang
tinatamaan.
nakikinig ako sa iyo, Sir Ken, binoprocess ko na yung ano eh, kasi nga
May
Dr.
natutunan ako,
Box has mentioned the our idea of introducing the artificial intelligence in the use of cervical screening. So, yun, pinoprocess ko na yung sa mind ko kung paano namin babrasuhin ni Dr. Box yung mga
Brasuhin to.
target audience namin.
Actually, tama ka
Your
eh.
audience nga daw.
No, actually tama yung well said yung sinabi ni SDG Ken, no, kasi
Yes.
we receive yung artificial intelligence na unit dito sa healthcare, no, dito sa
Yes.
Philippines. I think if my memory serves me correct, mga June of this year lang, no, of this year,
Yes,
no, when we
this
signed,
year
no?
lang.
This year lang, no? And then we were really toying around, no? Ano naman to eh, whether people can hear this, wala namang kaming sikreto, because whatever we are trying to push is really more on advocacy and how to deliver it in the Philippines, no? It's really very very hard, no? But I just would like to go to the process of the difficulties that we are encumbering at this point in time, no? Number one, who will be your target, no? Of course, the ultimate targets there would be the end users, no, the doctors, no. But ang problem kasi right from the get-go, if you introduce a certain new technology, artificial intelligence, the first question is, will I be replaced? With this
Yeah.
kind of technology, diba? So again, you have to fit the right or find the right
Resistance.
person, no? Right person. And then of course you would expect a lot of evaluation comments, no? Like in your case, it was an evaluation comments. In our case, it was resistance talaga, no? Into this new idea, no?
Sure.
But syempre, it's something new eh. You are the first to promote artificial intelligence here in the Philippines. There will be definitely a lot of resistance. So sabi ko sa kanila, it's a chicken and egg, no. I am the leader of the group, syempre. I told them, sabi ko, it's a chicken and egg thing, sabi ko, no. Ako, ang tingin ko, let's start first with the LGU, no, with the community. Let's put the awareness first, no. Once we develop the awareness, a lot of people are looking, going, or pushing, or promoting, or using, no, the kind of concept that we are advocating,
Advocating.
no? Diba? So wala namang problema doon, because if you're a doctor, you're trying to talk to a midwife, so okay lang. I mean, I'm sure hindi the credibility is there. No? But when you're talking colposcopes with an OB, that's not my specialty. You know, they are they are more credible than I am, no?
Yeah.
But 'di ba?
Yeah.
So
May resistance talaga sila for
resistance
changes.
talaga. Oo, for changes.
It always happens. That's why yung changes is easily accepted by younger people,
Mm.
younger persons, sorry.
Mm.
That's why nauso yung retirement eh. Because yun nga, when you get older, it's harder for you to make changes or drastic changes in your life.
Mm.
As a matter of fact, one time I heard na ang Citibank, ang presidente nila or the chairman or what, the head is like 40 years old
Mhm.
because he's more mas
Agile.
dynamic, mas siya sa and market is changing every day and everything ganyan. So talaga change is always hard as you get older.
Mhm.
Yeah.
True. I agree.
Nothing is
yun.
permanent in this world except change.
Yes.
Yes,
So
yes,
which one are you, the egg or the chicken?
Well, we're oh, kailangan pa bang tanungin?
Okay. Saka malaking itlog.
Alam mo, marami pa tayong mga matututuhan at gustong itanong kay
Yes,
Sir Ken.
actually.
Kaya lang talagang napaka-iksi ng ating oras ngayong umaga. And alam niyo na, kapag 10 at sumapit na yung 12, everybody's preparing for their lunch. At saka
Yes.
marami
Yes,
nang
yes.
gawain. It's a Sunday, it's family day. So, I think we have to ask Sir Ken for the final
Last
word for this morning.
final word,
And I'm sure
yes.
this is not going to be the last na
No.
makakasama natin si Sir Ken, hindi ba?
No. He will be
Magiging
part of the
permanent
show.
naman na natin siya, di ba?
Yes, yes. So,
Yes.
I mean, if time allows it, no? If time
Yes,
allows it.
yes.
Kasi you have to remember, maaga naman yung show, so meron na tayong tagagising. Actually, magigising. Oy, Bugs! Nasaan ka na? Nandito na ako sa loob ng Zoom. You know?
Yes. So, Mr. Ken, Sir
Oh.
Ken Jamandre, would you like to say something to our ka-moments?
Yeah. Nako, si LCP Mario kasi ba't pa pumunta sa mobility project?
Nakasakay
Yeah.
daw sa wheelchair, naglalaro.
Nako, mga nakapila na yung ibang recipients. But yeah, aside from LCP Mario, of course, and Governor Robert Coa, the GML team, the snippets that I mentioned, the key people I've shared to everyone with moments from my own family to my workplace to the present journey about the PhD. I think to capture everything right now, what I'm learning about myself and to end this time with you this Sunday is the concept of gratitude. I think among the core values that I'm trying to develop, as an individual is to always appreciate and be grateful to a lot of things, especially the balance of the good and the bad, no? Kasi ano talaga yan, fact of life, part of life, etc. But because of the effect of this great reset for everyone,
Yeah.
I've been able to contemplate on many things. Even as a simple question, yet complex in nature, is PhD even important? Diba? Mapapatanong ka talaga one moment parang may paper pa ako. So, ano pang gagawin natin? I have a tenured career. My friends are surviving. My family is thriving. There are many opportunities out there for the future, whether it's artificial intelligence, etc. Then how about on a personal level? What am I grateful for to be able to wake up on a regular basis? I think good health is one for
Yes.
everyone at this point. Grateful to be able to share my story. Grateful that I have this gift to be able to narrate my experiences, highlight certain realities personally, professionally, and socially. So, me saying thank you should be a regular part of our lives because it makes life a little more meaningful, a little more exciting on a regular basis. So, on that, thank you, of course, mga ka-moments, for for this morning.
And
Thank you
thank you.
so
Oh,
much. We
thank
Thank
you,
you.
thank
appreciate
you.
your time.
Thank you,
Oh,
mate. Thank you, thank you.
And we hope that you continue to inspire a lot of people just like what you did to us this morning.
Mm-hmm.
Lalo-lalo na yung pampagising sa umaga. Inspire us to get up early. Now,
nag-speech ka
seriously,
ba naman
thank
alas
you
7?
so much from the bottom of our heart for
Yeah.
sharing your
Mm-hmm.
thoughts, your ideas on so many things. I mean, maiksing moment lang ito, pero ito na yung moment ko, Doc and AG Carlo. This
Yeah.
is my
Oo.
Rotary moment.
Right,
Yes.
right, right, right. Ako, SDG Ken, bukas ang aming tahanan, no, sa Rotary Moments para sa iyo, no. Kung sa nakikita mong makakatulong ka lalo, no, through our program show, no. Hindi ko na sinabing aming show to, no, but our, meaning kasama ka na doon, no.
Yes.
Please let us know, no? Let us know kasi we can always develop other moments that I think would be fruitful to people who are listening, no? Or a certain section of men and women in the community, no? As you know, yung mga moments namin right now are halos mga kalokohan lang, no? Mga dalandan moments, di ba?
No.
Which is paying tribute to birthdays of Rotarians, no, out there, no? Which we do not have at the list, no? And then also with moments in time, we're just echoing the district's projects and our projects of Rotary Club of Manila South also. Other, kung sino man, if there are other clubs out there who would wish to be
To share.
to share, no, to share their projects with us, so we can share them. Pero outside of that, outside of the inspiration that you are sharing to them, no, baka you might have a thing, a time, no, for every Sunday, no, to come up with without anything that you would want to share, no, probably
Yeah.
please let us know, no, because
Yeah.
bukas po ang aming
Yes.
show na to para sa iyo, no, of course.
Yes.
Thank you again.
AG Carlo?
Yes. Alam mo, when we started this Rotary Moments, every time we have guests, I pick up a lot of things. I learn a thing or two. And right now, marami ako napulot. There are things that I realized I know, but didn't realize that I know it. Like yung mga sinabi ni SDG Ken kanina, knowing your audience, tama naman. You talk to younger people, the how they can relate to you, and you talk to older people, how they should be talked to. And so on and so forth. Ang dami ako napulot. And it every week we do this, parang ang dami na natutunan. And then, masaya rin naman tayo.
Yes, yes,
Importante,
yes.
we're happy, we learned something, and yun nga, na medyo nabigyan natin ng konting kaligayahan ng buhay natin at ang ating mga audience. Anyway, for those who are listening and watching us right now, just remember, same time, same place,
Yes.
next week, every Sunday at 10 a.m.
Yes.
Here at Rotary Moments. So that you won't forget, just click the like, subscribe, and click the bell so you will be notified of our next shows. And thank you
Okay.
very much, and I hope everybody have a good Sunday.
Okay. So with that, bye-bye po.
Bye-bye and have a nice
Maraming
Sunday,
salamat.
everybody. Thank you.
Bye.
Ang cervical cancer ay nakakamatay. 11 o 11 na babae ang namamatay araw-araw sa sakit na ito dito sa Pilipinas.
Ano po ba ang cervical cancer?
Ang cervical cancer ay nagmumula sa cervix.
Ito ay ang pinakaibabang parte ng matres.
Madalas, ang cervical cancer, walang simptomas, lalo na kapag nagsisimula pa lang ang bukol.
Sa paglaki ng bukol, unti-unti alabas ang sintomas nito.
Mula sa vaginal spotting sa pagitan ng buwanang dalaw o menstruation, lalakas ang vaginal bleeding o pagdurugo.
Sa iba naman, may lumalabas na dugo mula sa puwerta pagkatapos ng pakikipagtalik or sexual contact.
Ang ibang cervical cancer victims ay may di kanais-nais na amoy na lumalabas sa puwerta nila kahit menopause na sila.
Paano ba maiiwasan ang pagkakaroon ng cervical cancer?
Higit kumulang 91% ng cervical cancer ay nag-uugat sa isang virus na tinatawag na HPV or human papilloma virus. Kaya dapat pabakuna ang mga bata mula edad na 9 hanggang 15 taong gulang ng HPV infection.
Ang HPV vaccine ay para sa edad ng 9 hanggang 15 years old. Paano naman kami may edad na?
Kung kayo ay 21 years old at may karanasan na sa pakikipagtalik or sex,
Maaari na kayong magpa-cervical cancer screening.
Ano po ba ang cervical cancer screening?
ang cervical cancer screening ay ginagawa upang mahuli natin ang pasimula pa lang na cancer or pre-cancerous condition at mga early stage na cancer.
Walang sintomas na nararamdaman ang lahat ng babae na nasa pre-cancerous condition hanggang early stage na cancer. Kaya mahalaga na magpa-cervical cancer screening.
Humigit kumulang ay 100% ang survival ng mga pasyente na nasa pre-cancerous stage or early stages of cervical cancer.
Kaya wag na po nating intayin duguin. Magpa-cervical cancer screening na tayo ngayon.
Kaya wag na nating antayin duguin. Magpa-cervical cancer screening ngayon.